Good morning. I should say good afternoon, everyone. This is the image I'm going to be painting for you today. It'll be free to all of those who are on my Facebook account. And if you'd like more of these videos, if you actually subscribe to my account, you'll get some more videos that are not public. So you can have all of the images that I have created over the years. They'll be added to on a regular. So join us, grab your paints or supplies. If you don't see it live or you can't paint it live, it'll be up on there in the video section of the page, so you can always go back and do it. But this was one that I painted about a month ago, and I had some people say they were interested in it, so I thought I would just put it up here free for you all to paint. And I'll show you how to do that step by step. I'm going to put my camera up here. I do have to prop something under it because I have this little pop top thing on it, and it gets it uneven for me. So give me a second so I can get that straight for you. As I find something that's about the same thickness as that little popper. Maybe two of these pieces of, and of course I have to watch out for my camera. 2 pieces of paper here. That might work. Alright, we're going to push my camera that way. Just move my paper out of the way. There we go. So that's the image that we're going to be painting today. So what colors do I use? Well, I just use the Apple Barrel craft paints that you can find at Walmart. The large bottles like this are $2 and some cents. $2.50, $2.60 something. They might have gone up since our lovely days of old. Everything seems to go up in price. And then of course white. So we have red, we have white. There was a bright red. Here's a cobalt blue. Or you can choose a bright blue, or you could choose a navy blue to get a darker blue. I believe I just went with the cobalt blue on this one. I have a yellow here just to add some different colors back there. Or if you wanted to, you could grab like a spring green and a Christmas green. Those two are typically the ones that I go with. But I did grab the yellow, so I'm going to grab those and put them up there for myself. I cleaned off my surface, so it should be nice and clear for you. If you have black paint and you want to darken up a blue, let's say you have like this bright blue and you want to make it a little bit darker, you can add a little black to it. This is just from Handy Art Paint, so it doesn't have a label on it, and it's a little bit thicker than the rest of my paints. I've got a hair dryer handy. Burnt Umber is the brown that I use. This one's pretty empty, but I have a full one here, so we'll probably grab that so I don't have to smack it so much. This one gives us those nice kind of grayish brown tones. If you don't have that, any brown will do. This is a nutmeg, another one that I have. You could use this as well, and you can gray it up a little bit with a little black or white, kind of make a gray. Or you can make different flowers. I mean, I've never seen a real flower with a blue inside anyway. So any other colors you like, you can grab. I typically don't paint with gloss. This is a really old bottle that I have. I paint with a matte finish. And it's just so I can tell when it's dry, in all honesty. When it's dry, it's not shiny. When it's wet, it's still shiny. If I want something that looks shiny when I'm done, I will usually clear coat it with a spray can of clear acrylic or latex paint. Just your typical spray can of clear paint, and glossy if you want it to be shiny. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to move this guy out of the way. And as I said, I'm going to be painting on a watercolor paper. If you're wondering what that is, that's right here. I just get them online typically, or you can get them from Walmart or any craft store. It's a 9x12. There's only 30 sheets in a pack. It's roughly $10 to $15 for something this size. It's 140 pounds or 300 grams. What that means is it'll hold that amount of water. It's cold pressed, it's heavyweight paper, there's kind of a texture or tooth or grain to it. And it holds the acrylic painting well. And then if you haven't seen my studio, if you look over there, I hang them all up. And I couldn't do that if I was painting on a canvas. So you can paint on stretched canvases. If you do, I highly suggest you always paint the edges while you're working. So I'm going to try to keep this in the camera frame as much as possible, but sometimes I do go a little off. I'm going to grab myself a styrofoam plate. An ice cream bucket lid works great. Any kind of a plastic lid works really good because you can actually peel it off of the plastic and then reuse that palette, we'll call it. So you have less waste and less garbage that's going in our landfills, all that kind of fun stuff. All right, so to get started, I'm going to grab some white. Quite a bit there because I'm probably going to need it. And I'm just going to put the smallest itty bitty lip of burnt umber next to it. I'm going to take my purple paint cup and my 1-inch brush and I'm going to get it wet. Now whether I'm painting on canvas or watercolor paper, I still get my brushes wet. It helps maintain the life of your brush because the paint then doesn't soak completely all into your bristles because you have it wet to start with. So I'm going to dip right into my white and then I'm going to dip into the corner or a big old blob of that brown. And I'm just going to start painting straight up and down for the background. So I'm going to turn my canvas so that I can paint side to side because that's easier for me. I'm going to keep my paint handy. I'm going to re-dip just in the white all the time. I have enough of that brown on my plate or my canvas now because I want it to be a really light color with that light brown background. You can make a different background if you want your background to be a bright blue or maybe a fun orange or something, whatever your tastes are. Go ahead and paint that background. I'm okay with the streaks that are in it. I like that look. I think it's fun. It adds a little bit of dimension and texture. But if you don't like it, you could mix the paint up on your palette ahead of time. Just make sure you mix enough to cover your surface area. I did just dip into a little bit more brown because I feel like this side isn't going to have enough. So I'm just going to keep going back and forth, back and forth. Again, if you have a canvas that is stretched over a wooden frame, please go ahead and paint your edges right now as well to get those covered. I just dipped into the water just to kind of thin down a little bit. I don't typically tell people to thin out their paints, but if you feel like I just need to stretch a little bit more, I don't want to pour out more paint on my canvas or my palette or whatever, you can grab a little bit of that water and it will spread it a little bit thinner for you, help you move it over your canvas. So getting all your edges, all 4 sides, don't forget the bottom. You can paint on an easel or you could be painting flat like I am right here. Doesn't matter one way or the other. Just going to make sure my lines are going straight up and down. When I paint side to side, I have a tendency of doing kind of an arch. So now they're straight up and down. Now, so you notice my palette, it's still very much brown here and white here. I did not mix it all together. If you do mix it all together, you're going to need to go into another spot for something else. Now, when you're mixing paints, if you want something really light like we have here, start with the white. Add just a small amount of color at a time until you get the desired darkness you want. If you start with the dark, like if you put a big old splotch of white or brown here, you would probably have this full plate covered with white paint. You'd be wasting a lot of paint just to get this light. So always start with the lightest color and add a little bit of dark to it, and always mix it in a third little pile. Okay, once you feel that you like that color that you have over there, then you can make a bigger pile of it by kind of getting that same ratio again of how much white and brown, because once you do it, you're like, oh, okay, it really didn't take that much. So that's how you'll do that. You don't want to always mix it in one big spot. And then I still have plenty of white there to use for the rest of my painting. Now, I do have a fan going in my studio today, just because it's supposed to be like 90 degrees. My garage door is closed because it's much cooler in here without it open. But you're more than welcome to come on over. I said that I was going to do wheel throwing today, but I didn't have any wheel throwers that committed to anything, so I decided I'm going to paint some free lessons online for y'all. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide where my jars are going to be. So I'm going to grab my 1/4 inch flat brush, which was also listed where you should be grabbing. So this is just a little 1/4 inch flat brush that I have. And I'm going to put a little bit of that cobalt blue on my plate. And I'm going to put it kind of next to the brown. About the same amount that I had for the brown. Just a small little squirt, about the size of a dime. It spreads out. It'll end up to about the size of a 1/4 when you're done with it. And I'm also going to squirt out a little bit of that red. Now, if you've ever worked with these paints before, any kind of acrylic is plastic. If you get a chunk in it, you're just going to have to pull out that chunk booger, that paint booger out of your paint so you can work with it. I wouldn't panic too much about it. So as you see, I got the brown, the blue, and I have the red on here as well. My canvas is wet. It's not completely dry, but I'm not worried about it too much right now. I'm going to start with my red so I can kind of get a position of where I want this to be. I'm going to come down about 1 to 2 inches from the bottom and just do a small little smile line right there. I don't want it to be too crazy smile. Think about it like a smirk, right? So we have a curved line down there for the bottom of my mason jar. And then we're going to bring that jar up on both sides. And as we get up here, we're going to curve that line because mason jars are curved, right? Whether you're doing balls or masons or, you know, whatever brand you like, you can kind of curve the bottoms down here a little bit if you want to. All right. Those are our basic lines. You can fill this in. If your background is still wet, you might turn it a little bit pink because of that white that was in there. If you want it to be more see-through and less solid, we can kind of water it down a bit and just kind of do a really thin coat of the red. Or you can dip back into that background color you kind of mixed up. You can throw some of those streaks in there once you have it filled in as well. So I'm just going to keep filling it in with the red, straight red. Now, if you wanted to take the time and make the little thing that comes up this way too, the mouth of the jar, you could, but it's going to probably be covered up with flowers, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. But if you're not sure where your flowers are going to land, you can put this in there. Or if you want to do some other kind of painting, now you know how to make the full jar. And then the back would be just a frowny face. There we go, and they connect there. Alright, so that there is your mason jar. Now I'm going to rinse out my brush. My 1 inch is still in the water. I wring it out on the bottom, I press it down, I get all that paint out, then I smack it around in there. And then I'll grab paper towel or a rag. And grab a rag so I'm not wasting so much paper towel. And dry it off. It's still got some red in it. I'm okay with that. If you want it cleaner, you can rinse it more in your purple, in your paint. You probably don't have a purple paint cup, but in your paint cup, you can do that. Now, the paint will wash out of your skin and your hair and off your table as long as you get to it, you know, within a day or before, so when you're done cleaning, you can clean it off and it should come up. You can just scrape at it with your fingernail, it'll come off. But acrylic paint does not like to come out of clothes. So if you're getting a little too crazy with your stuff, make sure you have an old towel or something covering up your apron or your clothes somewhere, so you're not getting too messy. All right, so I have a blue jar over here, and I have my whitish jar over here, or clearish jar over here. So I'm going to go ahead and say this one's a little bit behind the other one. So I don't want it in the same spot, but I am going to draw my line that way. This way it looks like it's partially covered up. I'm going to bring this one up. Now because it's behind it, it's going to be about that much higher back here as well. Gonna round off that corner just a smidge and fill that in as well. Now if they're glass jars and they're not painted and they're actually colored jars, the blue or the red mason jars that you can find out there in the world these days, you would actually be able to see the blue through the red behind it, but we're just going to pretend they're painted. Just regular glass mason jars that we painted. So we're not going to go for the see-through look today with this painting. Maybe in another one. I have a bunch of them over there that I pulled up that I thought I would paint for y'all. But they will probably be for the subscribed members only. Now, the reason we have the subscription things going is because we're trying to raise funds to help support our special needs community who work with VIP or Seeds of Hope or anyone else that might not have a very large income but still wants to be able to create and have some fun. I love donating my time and my talents and all the stuff that I have, but then in reality I don't have that much money that I can just always give away the free stuff. So we are looking for some supporters. So if you subscribe to my page, you'll find some more tutorials and things and other fun events or first come discounts or savings that others may not get. By subscribing. If all of my subscribers would just donate $1 a month, we would have enough money for all of Walworth County. All of my special needs or low-income people to come out and create at least once a month. Alright, I'm going to bring this arm out this way a bit more because remember it was behind that. But I have to switch to a smaller brush because I ran out of room. So I'm going to grab my little detail brush. And I'm just going to go around this. Typically you want to paint what's in the background first, but I wanted to see where this jar was going to lie. There we go. Alright, and the next one is going to be the white one, which will be over here, but it's going to end up looking kind of bluish because clear jars aren't really clear anyway. They kind of have a green tint to them, so I have some blue still in my paintbrush, but I'm going to dip into my white this time. I'm going to put it about the same height as my blue, so I'm just going to draw my line across the bottom and start bringing it up. Now, I don't have a lot of paint in my brush left because I did rinse it out, but if I push down, you can see that blue coming back out again. Just the slightest hint. You can always mix up a light blue or add a little green and just do a very light green so that you can see where that jar is. I dip just a little into that blue again so I can show those lines. have the basic shapes there. We'll go ahead and refine them later, but we just want to get the basics down right now. Now you don't want to keep your brushes sitting in water, but you don't want them sitting out on the table with the paint in them because they will dry out and then it's hard to get the paint out. Especially these little fine detail brushes. Rinse them off, wipe them down, pull them back to the right shape right away, and then just lay them flat to finish drying. I do that with all my brushes. I flatten them back to the shape that they were supposed to come in, that they're supposed to keep. And that keeps my brushes looking better longer. Okay, if you leave them in your water for too long, they're going to end up getting kind of wrinkly and crazy and funky and wonky and all that fun stuff. All right, so the next thing I did when I started painting this is I was painting in the flower blossoms. I did not do the leaves until after, which again makes it a little bit more challenging because I have to paint around the flowers. But because the flowers were such a light color, I did not want to be a lot of green behind it, because then I would have to paint a lot of the flower petal. I'd have to paint over it numerous times. So I'm going to keep my little my quarter-inch brush in my hand. I'm going to dip into my burnt umber. And I'm going to put some here. I'm going to come into my blue, and I'm going to put some there. Alright, so I kind of have this darker blue going on. I want to get into my white. Alright, now I want to grab more blue because I want it blue, or I don't want it so light. But this is going to kind of gray it down for me. So it's just not as blue as my mason jar was. But that will be a really pretty center. And if you don't have something that's similar to this, try again. Just grab a little bit of that, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then keep mixing. You'll get something close. So my brush has that on there right now. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put an oval right here. And that will be one of my centers. I'm going to put an oval up here. Sorry, it's off the camera. There we go. That'll be another center. And you notice it's facing in this direction, so my flower is going to be opening up that way. This one is kind of just right here in the center. Grab a little bit more of that blue, and I'm going to put the other one right up over here. Alright, so there we have it. All done. Isn't it a beautiful painting? No, not quite. Okay. I also used that blue, but I actually lightened it up a bit later for some of the other blue flowers that were in it. I don't know if you remember those. Bring the reference back. Here we go. So some of these other little guys that I have up in here, I used that same color and just lightened it up, and then used the darker color in the middle. Alright, rinsing out my brush, drying it off, creating that nice fine shape again. Notice there's no paint coming off on my hand, so it's clean. Alright, now what I want to do is I'm going to grab this brown with the white and kind of mix up a little pile there that I can go into, because I like that lighter color, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. And then I'm just going to dip into the white, and I'm going to start by making my first petal. So we're going to do this first one. It's going to start at the petal, or sorry, at the center, and we're going to make a big swoop out this way. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then we're going to fill it in. If you can't see it, if it's not quite dark enough, you can grab a little bit more of that brown. Be careful. You can grab too much. And you can put it on one side for a shadow. and kind of fill it in like that. All right, so basically you have a big almond shape. Let me zoom in so you can see that. There you have it. It overlaps the blue slightly, and then it's a nice point up here. I'm going to dip into my white again, and I'm going to paint one next to it. So this one is going to go like this. Dip into my white again and connect it, and it goes like that. Notice the angle change of the petal. It's not straight up and down, now it's going this way. The one over here is going to go in this direction. So I'm going to grab some more white. I'm going to come over here on this side, and I'm going to put this one up in there. Alright, some of my petals aren't quite so pointy like that because you're seeing a different angle. So this next one over here, we're going to come from behind. I'm going to grab that lighter brown color again, along with some of my white. It's here, and it goes out. And then it comes in a little bit down and back this way. Grab a little bit more of that dark brown just so you can see it. So one out, and then I came down and in. And then we can fill that in. Dipping back into my white so I can lighten up that flower petal. I want you to be able to see what I'm painting. Because it's still wet, I can blend it in nicely. I'm going to go right into the next one. The next one is a little bit darker, so I'm going to make it darker brown on my plate. So it's all one solid color. And we're just going to come down and make a nice little swoop. Like a teardrop. Probably go over part of my mason jar at this point if your petals are too small, or if they haven't been if you put your blue up too high, you might want to make your petals a little bigger. So if you need to do that, just go over your petals again and just make them larger. Or you can start by doing the ones down here to make sure they're going over. Alright, this guy up front is pretty light, so we're going to go with the white. We're going to come in. It's going to come down. And then he comes back up. You can add a little brown in there if you want, some streaks. I'm going to go back into my darker brown again. Make another one that's behind here a bit. I'm dipping back into my lighter color. Bring this guy up over here in front of the white mason jar. Great thing about watching them on videos is if I go too fast for you, you can pause. My canvas is 9 by 12. You might be painting on a larger canvas and I'm going way too fast for you. maybe you're new to painting and I'm going way too fast for you. Either which way, you have control if you're rewatching it at a different time. All right, I'm gonna put another one in through here. Sometimes we'll go back and I will make a petal a little bit larger if I feel like I need it. If it feels like it's kind of out of proportion, it was too big on this side and need a little bigger on this side, we'll go ahead and do that. If I got a little too dark in an area, I can go back and add some white and kind of brighten it up a bit. And don't worry if you covered up your blue, because we're going to go back to that later. If you have your flower done, you can do it now. You can go back into that light blue that you had mixed up. You might have to make more if you have a fan going like I do. And then what I do is I take my paintbrush and I pounce around that edge this time. And because my white is a little wet still, I'm going to have some different colors going in, so I can dip straight into my blue this time as well. And kind of bring that out. Change up the color a little bit. That's our first petal. Our first flower. Let me zoom out so you can see better. There we go. They'll pop more once we get the green around it as well. We're going to go onto the flower that is on the left side, so above the blue mason jar. Again, I'm going to start with my white. We're going to go up top here. And we're just going to start down here and here. Bring those up. Let me add a little brown to it so you guys can see the lines. See if I'm still on camera. Okay. So this time we're going to be like that. With this petal shape. And if you dip a little bit too much into the brown, it's okay, because you can still smush it around with the white. You get up nice close to it, and you can kind of blend that all in. And it's okay to have an outline there on the one side. It'll help you see the next petal. I'm going to go to the right here. Make this one. Again, I tend to be putting a little bit more brown in it this time just so you guys can see it better. I can go back over it with some more white later. If it's dry, the white will cover it up. If it's wet, it'll blend it. So if you want to paint to blend on your canvas, you have to work fast enough where you can still be doing it while it's wet, and then you can blend that out so it doesn't look like such a harsh color difference. Alright, let's go into the white again. I'm going to go over here to this side. I'm going to go up. That one you can't see. Okay, let's try again. I'm going to put brown on my brush so we can see it. Here's my strokes. It's going up into a point and then back down. And this way. Now I'm going to come in with my white and go over that again, because again, it's too dark for my liking. I don't want brown flowers. I want them to be kind of that really pretty, kind of silky, whitish tan. I don't know. Taupe. Taupe would be a better word. Alright, this one comes down this way, so he looks funny again, so it's rounded. And then kind of has a little bump. So it's almost like a heart shape. Just a funky shaped heart. Now if you painted your background a different color, these will probably show up even if I was painting it in white. You would definitely see it, but because I went with the same color background, it makes it a little challenging, but you're seeing it closer in person. You should be able to see the difference between the two. I'm going to take a little bit of this color here, outline it like that so you can see it, and then go in with my white, try to blend that away a little bit so it's not quite so noticeable there. And there you have that. We have a few more petals going down here. This one coming in. He kind of disappears behind some of my leaves, so I'm just going to make him a teardrop shape. Remember, we do have to paint the leaves in, so if everything's not completely filled up or it looks a little wonky right now, we can kind of cover things and fix things up with the help of some other shapes. Now here I want to decide, do I want this flower to be in front of that one, or do I want that one to be over top of this one? And right now I decided to put it in the background. It would have been easier if I would have put it in front of it, because it's always easier to paint the background first and then work your way forward. But you know, I like to be difficult. So we'll leave it on the darker side so we can see that it's behind the other one. Bring out the white at the tip of this guy again. There we go. Sometimes I get too much paint in my brush, so I give it a good rinse again. And I dry it off. Always dry off the finial too, this part here. Otherwise, as you're painting, you're going to get a drop of paint and or water rather. If you want to go into your small detail brush, if you feel like, hey, I need to outline something, but I don't want such a big line, you can kind of go in very lightly. You can start putting a little bit of that outline in there. And once your paint kind of runs off your brush, you do kind of more of a dry brush stroke. And with that, you can barely touch and get some definition between those petals. I'm going to rinse that off real quick and dry it because it's my detail brush and I don't want to ruin the bristles. I take care of my brushes because I have lots of people that like to use them. Alright, I'm going to dip just into my white again. I'm going to come over here and finish putting some more petals. So we're going to have one go off this way. I think I'm going to bring it up this way a bit and then bring it down. There's really no wrong or right way to make petals for some of these things. It's just a matter of which direction do you want the flower looking in. So in that case, then there is a right or wrong way to make them. But right now, you're creating your own paintings, so you can, it's not like you're looking at a picture. or an actual flower. If you're looking at the real thing, you have to pay attention to, okay, where does the highlight go? Where does the shadow go? And then they have funky shapes because you're not seeing a full petal straight on some instances. Some instances you're just seeing the back of a petal or part of a petal. Get a little bit into my brown there. I want to go darker again so we can see that it's behind this one. See the differences between the two. And then I go over that front one again to make it stand out from the background one. And to cover up any boo-boos I may have made. Decide if I have to make a flower bigger than the other one, so I can go ahead and change that. This one down here, he needs to be different. We're gonna make him a little different because he doesn't quite sit right. Alright, I have both of those flowers in there. Now I could sit and putz with the flowers for a long time, and you can too. So if you want to have the flowers that, you know, have more detail, by all means, go ahead and put that detail in there. Just push pause and come back. I'm going to pounce that blue in there again. I don't want to go in front of this one because I want that to look like it's behind. There we go. So it looks like this flower is coming up and over, and if I put this little brown in here, you'll see what I mean. So from my perspective, that flower petal is sitting in front of that. Alright, we have one more flower. Now, if we notice the difference here in this one from this one. First of all, everyone says, well, I can't draw like you. I can't paint like you. Well, you don't have to, because I don't do it the same every time either. So, here's my original. Much smaller, a lot further down. These were shorter. Of course, it's a smaller painting. You know, so it's on a 7 by 12-ish, 11 maybe. So it's narrower, but it's about the same length. You see where I put the position on this one. I made the flowers much larger over here than on the previous one. I want to do this one here too. And then I want to fill in with the greenery elsewhere. It had a little flag that came out, and we had some greens that fell down here. They could be flowers down here if you want. You could have some other decoration down here. It could look like a table down here, because otherwise they're floating, right? We don't want floating picture or flowers and jars. So if you decide you want to do like a table in here, I would go with that darker brown. Same as the background color. Come back in with my white because it's a little too dark. Switch the direction of that. And brush strokes. So bring them this way. And if I wanted to, I could go back with my big brush. I could have done this at the beginning, because again, I did say it's best to do the background first. And that way it looks like it's sitting on a table. I usually switch to my larger brush just because of time. I don't want these videos to be much longer than an hour, as it takes them too long to upload. And switch back to the smaller one so that I can get around my mason jars. And it's good to have it a little bit darker up underneath the mason jars because they would be casting a shadow. That would be more realistic if you're going for realism. I'm not necessarily, but this image was found on one of those outdoor flags that you put in your garden. And I thought it was pretty cool, so I thought I'd paint one to hang in my studio. Obviously, it's been changed a little bit. I don't want to copy someone else's art completely. I always want to give myself a little creative freedom. And then it also reduces the amount of stress that you feel if you can't quite make something look exactly like something else. Just call it creative freedom. I'm just going to blend that out down here at the bottom, just to let it kind of disappear. All the paint's off my brush. There we have that. You can hit it with a hairdryer. You can always take a break and come back to it, or we can keep painting. I'm going to move on to my flower up here. Alright, still with my 1/4 inch brush. This flower is going to be looking in this direction. So I'm going to grab some of that light brown. My light brown, I kind of mixed up a little bit right here with my white. That way it shows up a little bit better for you guys. And I'm going to start with these down here. We're just going to have some petals coming down. Again, they kind of look like an almond shape. Pointy on both ends like a football. This guy's going to be a little bit lighter. He's going to come over here and go in this direction. Skinny towards the blue and gets wider in the outside. If I bring that darker color, you'll see it again. And then just fill it in. There was some pretty wonky shaped petal in the picture. I don't know if it's really necessary in this one where my placement of my flowers are, but you know, it's fun, so why not? Maybe some more white on there. And again, it's behind this other one, so. And I'll leave it darker, but I don't want it as dark as it was, so I lightened it up a bit. And another little petal that was down underneath here between these guys, so we can make that little guy in there. And my original painting over here, this flower was way closer and had a really big leaf that went over here, petal rather, sorry. So I'm gonna have to create a new petal on this guy. So we're just gonna go out and bring it to that point again, and then bring that down and this way to give him a new petal, since it didn't have one in my previous painting. By doing that, I hope you realize that you can put in whatever extra things or omit some things. Like if that's not going to fit, then don't put it in. If it doesn't work for your painting, just leave it out. If you need something else, put it in. You know how to make the petals now. You just kind of make them either an almond shape, or you can change the shape up a little bit. Just have some fun with it. I'm going to have this guy come in front of it. It's going to go off my canvas because, again, like I said, compared to my original picture, I made these flowers a lot bigger, so they don't fit on my piece of paper, which is quite all right. Got a little acrylic booger there, so I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to bring this guy up and off. Doesn't matter what it looks like up here because I'm not going to see it once I remove that tape. So I'm just blending it out and coloring it in. Do this guy up here, make him go kind of wonky. If yours fits on there, you can either make it the tip that looks like one of these guys. Over here, you can make it kind of like one of those, or you can make it like that, or you can make it just an almond shape. I'm going to bring this one over here. Now, if you want to come out and you still want to do this one with me, you're more than welcome to come out. I will help you. I'll walk you through this painting. If you want that in-person instruction. Some people just don't do well online. My kids did not do well online. I like teaching online. It was actually very easy because I could see all my students' work in one spot. I had them turn their computers to their image, so I didn't have to see their faces. Although I love seeing their little smiling faces. Not little, I taught high school. But I was able to see their artwork, which was more important to me, so that I could help them to make sure they were doing it correctly. If I'm in the classroom with them, I would walk around the classroom and I would be able to see what they were doing. But because we were online for a while, that's how I decided to do it, and it worked out great. Again, I'm painting the flower in front that I kind of messed up. I think I want this petal to be larger, so I'm going to go back over and do this one again. All right, if it feels like you lost some of them, you can go on with your detail brush and you can kind of outline some things. You're going to have to blend it out. I'll dry it off or I'm going to have water dripping down. So it's still wet. I'm going to take some white on my paintbrush. I'm going to go right up next to it. I don't have a lot of paint on my brush. I don't want to like make it disappear, but I do want to press down with my bristles a little bit and make that pop. My paint's almost all out on my plate. I might either have to grab some more or just grab some water and wet my bristles down a little. This one was pretty wonky itself. I had it coming out here. And then I did one of these. So this one behind it would be a little bit darker. Dipping into my white, just pushing down. Getting those bristles. Get that paint out of there. Sure, okay, Suki. And like I said, I could sit here and kind of putz with these flowers all day long if I wanted to. So you can do that as well. You can add some veins, you can add some more detail, make them stand out where they look like they're missing. Just use very light pressure when you're doing it. Just give it really detailed, small lines. The more you press down with that detail brush, the more those lines spread out, and then you end up going, ooh. Alright, rinse my brush off again. Go back into my brown, blue, white mixture. Kind of lost a lot of that. It dried out real fast. There we go. And do some pouncing. Come down here and add some of that color back to this one. So they're all similar. Maybe add some of this darker to this one here. Leave it lighter on the outside. That's fine too. Kind of like the way that looks. Alright, I'm going to grab some of the Christmas green. I always give my paints a shake. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake the whole camera. I'm going to squirt that on my plate. Now you can choose to use the round brush here if you like, or you can continue to use the flat brush. I like both, so I'll probably go back and forth between them. I'll show you this one quick though. If you get some of that on your paintbrush, and then if we start like with this guy up here, let's go very light pressure just to get it in between those petals, and then I'm going to press down a little harder, and then I'm going to press down and lift up. I'll give you kind of a leaf shape. So press down and lift up. You can always do it the other direction too, where you're pressing down out here and then bringing it in. If you want it to be a bit more rounded off. Or you can always just paint them in like that as well. I'm going to dip a little bit into that brown with the green. So here's my brown and my blue, and I'm going to bring it over here to my green just to kind of dull it down a bit so that it's more in tune with the rest of the colors. You can also go in with your white. Mine's getting pretty dried up. And mix that in. You can grab some of that brown. And that'll be a fun color to put in as well. So whatever kind of leaf you want. So let's just go down here. And your leaves are very similar to your flower petals. So you can just kind of make them almond shaped. You have some short little guys in there. You can break out the yellow if you want to and put some of that in here as well while it's still wet. You can add a little blue to your green and go behind all the leaves. Just fill in where the petals are not. And then we can do some leaves over top of that. So I'm going to turn my canvas because it's easier for me to get into some of these areas that way. So you're more than welcome to turn your canvases. See, there's probably some green around this guy over here, so we'll put some of that down in here. I'm going to paint upside down. You can paint upside down or right side up, doesn't matter at this point. I'm just going to be going around some of those flowers and bringing out that green. Remember, the flag's going to be in here too, so if you want the flag to go in front of your leaves, you can paint some leaves in places in between your petals here. This will also help define those edges of the petals a little bit. Ooh, I almost had a wet lap. I bumped my water cup. Just kind of putting random little leaf shapes out here and there. Come up through here and get some of this green as well. Alright, so we're going to say that's all of our greenery that was intermixed in our flowers there. I'm going to come in with my detail brush and go around where some of these are a little bit closer here. Just kind of outline that leaf, because we're going to say that leaf is in front of my green background. Come over here and fix the sky too. could even have a little bitty guy in here if I wanted to. If he's showing up. You can always make it darker. So if you feel like it's a background color and it would be really dark because you've got a lot of the foliage there and you wouldn't see it, you can go in with that dark brown with your green and just kind of make that a little bit darker through there. And just kind of blend it up into the green. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow on my plate. About the size of a pea. Not much at all. You can use your small little detail brush because it is round. And do some of these as well. So we can dip in here and we can dip in here. And then anywhere we want to put some of these sprigs, we could just kind of go up with them. Nope, a little too much green. I can't see my yellow. There we go. We can go up with that. We're going to push down and lift up. Push down and lift up. Redip. Push down and lift up. Push down and lift up. And do that all the way down. We could have had another sprig that comes out over here if we want. You can put these in wherever you want them, or you can leave them out. You don't have to have them in there. Push down, lift up. Push down, lift up. Kind of like I'm making little hearts. There's little leaves that are showing up here. You keep going, and at the very top you just have a little teardrop one up there. That's all going to be removed once I remove my tape anyway, but if you put in two, I'd say put in one more. Let's make at least 3 of them. I'm going to say this one is coming up behind that leaf, coming up this way. You might have to come back and give it a second coat later, especially if you're doing it over a green leaf like I am here, just so they stand out a bit more. Or you could mix a little white in there, but then it's going to make them not as bright. Kind of muted a bit. Alright. You can do the same with a lighter green if you wanted to. Again, to your white and your green. You can even lighten it up a bit with that yellow. You can have some coming out here. You can maybe have some long grasses coming out of there. This one got really dark on me. I'm not crazy about that. I might have to go over that one again. I like this color better. You can add some more detail into some of your previously added it's like some veins. If you decide nope, don't like it, paint over it. Add a little highlight in some of those areas, maybe. Right now I'm using my little detail brush just because it's easier to get around all the... It takes longer to paint, but it's easier to get around all of the flower petals. Put some more petals over here. I like to try to keep in mind where my light source might be coming from. Sometimes it's evident, sometimes it's not because of all of the ambient light that might be around it. I'm going to touch up this flower petal right here in the front. So I feel like it got lost. I need more paint. My paint is too dry. There we go. Now we're going to come in here with my little detail brush again, and we're going to add some blue around this mason jar. So I'm going to say the lip of the mason jar was kind of here. I can kind of see mine, where those jar lines might be. Just a little bit of some lines here or there. So we see where the curve is. If you wanted to, you'd see the inside of that jar going that way. But I have some leaves in this other picture. I don't know if I'll put them in this one or not. Rinse out my brush. Dip in the white. And do that on the red and the blue jars. Just kind of bring down a little highlight. And you can do this with like a pink if you wanted to, rather than it being so bright white. There was also a ribbon on my other one over there, but this flower kind of took that space up, so I don't think I'll put it on here. I might have part of it hanging down here, like this would be one of the, have part of it showing. Alright, I had some polka dots on here, so I'm going to use the back of my paintbrush. I'm just going to put some dots on. I'm going to do that on the blue one as well. Wipe that off so I don't get it all over myself. Still in the white paint with my liner brush. When I come up and do this, I can see a little bit of those lines back there for the mason jar lid. Come down this way. Highlights. If you want to paint your stars in here for the holidays, get your stars and stripes. You can make them different sizes. You don't have to have them all small. And just fill them in. You're probably like, what the heck kind of star are you drawing? Because I'm jumping around and not just going bloop, bloop, bloop. I could have. But when it comes to painting, I find it's easier just to draw some of those lines in there first and then go back and fill them in. You can even try to put some on the white jar and see if they pop out. You might be able to see them, you might not, depending on if you have enough blue in there. Or you could paint them in blue or red, or both. Let's do that. Let's put a couple blue stars on there. Dip in there. My red dried up completely over here. Put a little bit back on there. I still have blue on my brush, so it might be kind of purple when it paints. We'll see. that. We still have those little blue flowers if you want to put them in anywhere, or if you want to do some leaves down here, or just put some of those flowers down here. I'm going to switch my brushes again because that one's too small. If you do happen to have any other size brushes, something a little smaller than your detail, bigger than your detail but smaller than your 6-inch round brush. This guy is a number 2. Usually I can't see because I have paint on it, but it's a number 2. So I'm going to go in and mix up that color again, that brown, that blue. I guess that's we're just going to do it right here, and then grab some of that white. There we go. Alright. You notice there I twisted my paintbrush on my palette. That helps to make it round again. We're just going to do push down and up, push down and up, push down and lift up. Grab more paint because I'm running out. Push down and lift up, push down and lift up. It's about like a star shape. I'm going to dip into the white and I'll do another one. Down and up, down and up. Dip just straight into my blue this time. Push down and up, down and up. White and blue. Put some of these guys up and around here. Any spot that you feel like it looks like you need something, put one in there. I need to lighten that up. It's too dark. I'm going into the white and I'm on my plate and I'm just mixing it first. There we go. I'm going to dip right into my white. I think I want one here. Like it popped in front of that other one. I'll have one here. Go on another one over here. Take the back of my paintbrush. I'm going to dip straight into my blue. And I'll put a center in. That one got a little off center, but that's okay. You could also dip into the white if you wanted to give them white centers. Whichever one you feel like doing. I guess it depends on how dark your flowers are. Some of each. I'm running out of blue. you want to get fancy, you could always put some vines or something down in there. You could try putting some greenery in there if you want. I'm not falling in love with this right here, so I'll probably paint over that. And presto changeo, just cover it up. I liked it in the original, but I don't like it here, so I'm going to take them out. Part of it's because in the original I have the greenery down there as well. It's okay if I have some of that blue still in there because that's just going to show up as like a reflection off of our mason jars. Add a little water to my brush so I can spread it out a bit. I want to put some of that darker on over here. Again, a little water to help move it around a little. All right, here's the original again. Here's what we have this time around. If you want to put a flag in it, you can. I think I'm going to leave the flag out of mine this time just because I have this going on. You could have made the bottom look like a flag if you wanted to. So there you have that. That one's that one. Now the last step for me is to tear off my edges. With the paper and the tape, sometimes it tears, so if you heat it with a hair dryer, it'll loosen up the glue and then you won't have torn paper. Trying to get this in here. There we go. It gives me a nice clean edge. We've got some more clay and more paint nights coming up. You can use Open Studio Time for anything. Come on over to the Lakefront Studio, A Glass of Art and More, and we're going to be painting or playing in clay or wood burning or crafting or doing all the other fun stuff you like. Put my name down here. Upcoming, we have some Paint Your Partner nights. We have some clay hand building. You can check with your local Park and Rec. I'm working with the Delavan Darien Parks and Rec, the East Troy Parks and Rec, the Elkhorn Recreation Department, and the Bigfoot Recreation, I forget what it's called, district, I believe. They're through, Bigfoot is through their school district. So all the kids programs are done at the high school. The adult programs are done at 10 Pin Bowling Alley. Elkhorn, it's all done at the Park and Rec's done at Sunset Park in that building there. The East Troy one is done at their community building over by the dog park and the police department. By LD's barbecue, if you know that area. And then the Delavan Parks and Rec is done in Darien, the children's group, the kids group. That one is done at Darien at the public library and downstairs in their senior center. If you have any other questions, please contact me, and I will love to help you out. Any private workshops we do or anything else. So again, this one is going to be free and up for everyone to use, but if you want to see other paintings and have the step-by-step, go ahead and subscribe to my page. If you donate $1 or more a month, you'll get some other content that other people won't. And if I could get 2,000 people giving me $1 a month, you do the math, that would be enough to pay for all of my special friends with low income and special needs to be able to do more with their programs. They have limited income, so they have only limited access as to what we can do. We do still offer all of the fun projects for them to choose from. It just comes out of my budget right now, and it's pretty slim pickings. So we'd appreciate the community support to help out the rest of the community that's in need. Thank you. Enjoy this painting. I hope you had fun doing it, and check out the other ones on my page as well. Have a good day.